So thank you guys all for coming out this morning. My name is Kim Welk. I run Burro Base Camp. We are located in Kiowa, Colorado. We are a rescue that brings in donkeys from various situations. A lot of kill pen, a lot of auction house, a lot of slaughterhouse, a lot of owner surrender, some involvement with the law enforcement and neglect cases. But we bring them in, we do rehab to get them back to health and hoof health, and then we work on getting them so that they can be handled properly, and once they can be handled properly, then we adopt them out. Teaching you guys donkey handling is a little bit different here than it is at my place. Most of the donkeys that come into my place have never been handled or have been handled in a negative way, so their connotation with people is not positive. And so we work to break down the barrier and build the trust with the donkeys. Donkeys are very trusting animals. These guys have seen me several times, but most part I typically present myself pretty comfortably around donkeys, and so donkeys learn pretty fast that I'm okay to hang out, that I'm not here to hurt them, that I'm not here to cause problems. They feed a lot off of our energy and our hearts, so if you walk in to work with them and you're anxious and you're nervous, that's fine because that's part of the process. But the sooner that you can get yourself to be comfortable and calm and not worried about getting kicked and not worried about how they're going to respond to you, the better they're going to actually respond to you, because they're going to not understand if you're all worked up, why you're worked up, and they're going to get worked up too. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is basic handling. I do all of my handling in a small area, which is why I built the pen. I actually start out even smaller than this when I start out with my wild guys, and that's 100% for my safety as well as the donkey safety. So until I know a donkey and until I know how they're going to respond, I'm not walking into a pen with a donkey. And so when I build this pen, I may end up using one or two, but I'm pretty sure it will come back to the food. Excuse me. Go into triangle. That's right. Okay. We're fine. You're fine. We'll keep Hershey. So by taking it down to a triangle, now all of a sudden I'm outside, they're inside, but they don't have a whole lot of room to move around. So if you're familiar with horses and you're familiar with how horses train and how horses work, a horse, if you tell a horse to stand next to you, will typically stand next to you. Donkey won't always stay here. They would rather back up and watch what's happening and decide whether or not they want to be part of what's happening up there. So this eliminates their ability to back up. As I get comfortable with them and as they get comfortable with me, we work to open it up. So you can come back in here, little girl, or you're going to go the other way. You're going to stay.
Hey, Celsi.
You're going to stay.
Can you go around? Here, turn around.
You're going to stay. You're going to stay. She's going to come back. Maybe. She's like, but I'm missing food right now. This is not. She's like, yeah. We'll do it with her. So.
Uh-oh.
That's what she has to say about that.
That's nervous. She didn't know why she was doing it and why everybody else was out. So very normal for them to do that, especially when they're with me at my place. We do a lot of that. It's actually a good thing when they release, because that means they let go of the breath that they're holding. At my place, I do reward with food, because if I can get them where they're comfortable enough to eat, I can see their mouth moving, they're not holding, that eliminates tension, and it releases a lot of stuff. So my guys get fed the whole time that we call a training session. I'm not going to feed these guys the whole time because they don't need to be fed the whole time. But I will reward because I want to make it a positive experience, and I want him to be willing to come back in here and work with me again. So everything that we associate with this pen, we want to be positive, and this pen right here becomes a super helpful tool in the event of an emergency, in the event of a necessary evacuation, in the event of a whole bunch of different things. So we have all of our pens set up to a funnel. So I have a bigger bigger area of pens that I can get everybody squeezed. But I have 39 donkeys in a pen, and I can pull the one donkey that I need if I have somebody that's sick or needs immediate attention. In the event of evacuation, things like that, we're in real fire risk country. If you had fire and you were trying to chase them through the entire pasture, obviously it's not going to work overly well for you. So some of what I'm going to teach is get these guys to move around. And when we do that, and ultimately ending up in a pen, my pen is built in the center just because this was a good place for us to have it, so that you guys could all see and be around the outsides. But typically I'll have my pen built up onto a natural barrier, so I'll have a fence that I can work with, and that way if I need to push somebody in, I can use the fence along the way in order to get them to move. I'm used to donkeys chewing on my stuff. So in the event that you're trying to move, if Dale were having to load up and we were having to do a mass evacuation, they have the big catch pen up top where the two new guys are. That's a pretty good funnel, and so they're pretty good at pushing around here, using the building as a barrier and pushing into that pen. You close down the pen, all of a sudden they're in that smaller area instead of this big, huge, large area. They can push one more up to where the gates are in that pen, and you're down one more, and the trailer can actually be back straight up to that gate, so we can load straight out of that chute and do pressure from behind. Donkeys move with pressure from behind. We don't want to necessarily get in their face, try and push them. You saw when Salsa was trying to get out, like if you get in their face and try and push them, they're like, why are you trying to hold me back? They're going to push forward through that. So I'm not going to force her back in, but you want them to kind of walk, and you want to not impede their ability to see where they're going. Donkeys have pupils that go horizontally instead of vertically. And so when they get to something like a shadow from this fence that looks like a big line in the ground, it may look like a trench to them. So if they're slow to process something, going over something, you need to help them have confidence to work through those things. And so some of pushing behind is allowing them to see that stuff, but know that the pressure's coming in from behind. We're not trying to pull them across something that they don't know what it is. Questions so far?
So they see things like that shadow, like cow grates.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. And so if you're familiar with pack burro racing, that's the best place to display it. They paint the finish line, and the winner of the race is the donkey's nose, not the person who crosses the line. And all of a sudden the donkeys hit the line and they screech to a halt because they can't see, and then you'll watch them do these big royal jumps over the top because they don't know if they're jumping a river or a stream or what they're trying to go over. So they feed tremendously off of you. So like I said, the confidence in your heart palpitations, showing them that you're calm through your touch, they're going to trust you through environments like that. So when you're out walking, if you're walking in a parade and something makes a big spook, you know, a big noise, the motorcycles that make the big noises, that would be an occasion where volunteers are holding on to a donkey. If you go, ah, they're going to go, ah, and they're going to run, right? But if you're calm and you're like, it's okay, we're okay, keep working through it, don't make a big deal about it, they're going to keep going with you because they're going to see that you didn't respond to it. So the more even-keeled you can be, the better. These guys are obviously exposed to much more as far as outside environments. When they're out in town, they see cars, they see trucks, they see things backfiring, you know, they see the parades, they see all the activity of the people. And my guys don't necessarily see any of that. So we come up, when I bring my boys up to Cripple Creek, that's the first time they've seen concrete. And so we can spend 20 minutes getting out of the trailer when we arrive because they don't know what that is that I'm making them jump into. And then I work with them always on the first morning that we're up there to go down to the pancake breakfast. It takes us another 20 minutes to get off the curb to walk into the street. And so that's how I get them confident enough to be able to go in the parade at 11 o'clock. But I have to reteach that every time I come up here because we don't have concrete at our house. We don't have curbs. So it's not something that they ever get to see. The more that you can be around them and the more that you can desensitize them to anything, I don't cater any of my life to my donkeys, the donkeys cater to me. So when I go in the pens and I feed in the morning, when I'm in there cleaning, scooping pens, if my phone rings, my phone rings. I don't try and silence it. I don't try to hurry up and make it soft. I have volunteers that listen to music. The donkeys like to listen to music. You know, if I take a sweatshirt off, the sweatshirt goes on somebody's back, and they all watch and decide if they're gonna die or not, and a lot of them freak out, but that's how we desensitize. I always have stuff hanging out of my pockets. They usually chew on my belt, but I don't change anything about myself in their environment. I walk in confidently, and I walk in doing what I'm intending to do. I don't make any movement. I actually move more around my rooster at my house than I do around my donkeys. My rooster is evil. Question? No? So when we start, and I don't know, how have you guys been in with these donkeys? Have you been working with these donkeys? What's your handling level? I know Dale. How much do you see these guys? How much do you get hands on them?
Not too often, just maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay.
Never.
Never?
That's my first.
Actually?
Not too often with these guys. We've helped walk with them.
Okay.
Or lead in a
Okay.
parade. But the race donkeys, I've
Yep.
moved them around a bit.
Okay. So everything with them, like I said, is making sure that they're comfortable with us. So I start everything out with touch. And I tell them anytime that I'm touching. So my guys at my place, it's a miracle when I can touch them. And when I'm touching them for the first time, their skin, see how his skin's crawling a little bit when I'm touching him? When I touch my guys for the first time, their skin's like crawling. And so I want him to know what I'm doing. And by telling him that I'm touching, he knows that I'm touching, that my voice is calm, that I'm not doing anything that's going to bother him. You're being a good boy, aren't you? I tend to start touching behind their withers, their shoulders, onto their backs. I don't get anywhere up in their zone when I first get to know them, because his eyes and his ears are his number one. And so if I interfere with that, he wants to know why. And so I don't want to get on ears and things like that until he's comfortable letting me. And I don't want to impede on anything. He's watching all these guys. He's trying to figure out why he's not there. So I don't want to interrupt that, because I want to make sure he knows that they're still there and that he didn't get left behind. In a herd in the wild, they don't want to be left behind. They're left behind, they're done. And so I'm not intervening with this to make sure that they know. I do this for safety of me and him. I usually have 20 helpers outside my pen because they figure out that I feed when I'm in here. But it's also safety, because if I was just trying to walk up to him out there, he wouldn't understand why. So anytime that I'm working with the donkey, I take him into a spot so that they know that this is designated working time. And as soon as he's let go, I'm not going to go bother him. I'm not going to go out and brush him. I'm not going to go out and halter him. I'm not going to go out and tell him that he needs to pick up his feet, because that wasn't the time that he's working. That's something that Dale needs to decide here with you guys as far as handling if you're coming in to volunteer. If he wants you to do it, most of these guys are approachable, and so you can get them. But they're going to be more reliable to you and more consistent to you if you set them up for success and they understand what they're supposed to have happening. And so if you're just coming in to visit with them and you want to brush on them a little bit, absolutely that can be done out there. But I would say halter or above, if you're getting into feet and things like that, it should be done someplace that they expect it to happen so that they know why it's happening and what's supposed to be happening. Touching, obviously, not a problem. I'm pretty sure that I can get hands on every one of these guys because at this point they know me. But it's something that you need to take your time. You have your gloves on. I love that. I don't actually have my gloves on, which is shocking. I wear my gloves all the time. I wear my gloves summer, winter, spring, fall, because my hands are always cold in the winter, and I don't want them to be scared to death of a glove the first time I put it on. And so if I do all my touching right now with gloves on, they're used to it. If I put, coat on, things like that, I don't want them to be scared of me once I'm dressed up like the Michelin Man, because I'm coming out dressed up like the Michelin Man when it's cold. So anything that they can get used to, that you can desensitize to and through, expose them to it as much as you possibly can. So at this stage of the game, I do everything in a routine order. Donkeys are smart. They're very, very smart. They know routine. They see somebody pull up there, they all go up there. They see somebody pull away, they all come back because they know that there's no treats anymore. They know. They're smarter than we think they are. They definitely don't get the annotation of the personality that's attached to them. They're way smarter than horses. They're actually brilliant animals. So if they don't understand, that's when they become stubborn. It's not that they don't want to participate, it's that they don't understand why. And so you've got to work them through and set them up for success so that they can go to the next step with you. Anytime that I do any interaction with donkeys, I come fully prepared. I get all of my tools and equipment out before I come in with the donkeys because I don't want to waste my time. At my place, I have a 10-15 minute window before their heads explode and they can't take it anymore. And I've got to release them before we get to that point because otherwise it's a negative experience that gets carried on down the road with them. So I want to make sure that it's positive. I want to make sure that they end on a good note, and I want to make sure that they're out before I lose their attention so that next time we can go a little bit further. These guys, for the most part, know routines and know how to halter and know how to do these things, so I can work through them pretty quickly. Hershey's a good donkey all around and will just hang with us. So I'm going to take advantage of them as long as I can. But I do touches first. I always walk in and touch. If they are willing to take a reward from my hand, I will reward so that they know that I'm happy that they're in here with me. And then we'll start working through skills. This is a rope halter. I don't know if you want to get me one of your halters so that I can show the difference between.
You want one?
Yeah, please. We use rope halters at our place. This is called a 4-knot rope halter, so it has 4 knots across the top. That goes across the nose. The knots actually apply pressure, and so they don't like that. They don't like the feeling of the pressure, so it helps to teach them pressure and release. When we put a halter onto a donkey, most, I would say 99% of the halters buckle on the left side of the donkey or on the horse. So you don't want to be standing on the right unless you can tie knots upside down, which I absolutely can. I always halter, never again coming from head first, because they don't like things in their head. So I always put my halter around neck first. I get where I'm holding both and just put it up and over the nose. Because I didn't do anything to impede his vision or his ears by doing it the way that I just did. Good boy.
Okay.
Good boy. So just off and on. If you're doing this, I do things in 3s. So for me, the first time is going to be a complete fumble. I'm going to be real lucky if I get the donkey the first time if they've never had a halter on. But I want to do it 3 times because the second time it's going to be better. Third time it should be a slam dunk. Right? Good boy. That halter doesn't fit you, does it? This is a nylon halter. Same concept. Here's your nose hole. These tend to run a little bit big on donkeys, which is why we don't use them, because I need control of my donkeys more than these guys need to be controlled. Same thing. I'm coming at them from behind. It's going to slide on, and this just buckles instead of ties. I'm not going to talk you through how I tie a rope halter because I can't tell you in words. I have to show you. So we can do that and just come in and have people practice and tie on him. Can we put this on, dude? You need a hole puncher. There. Good boy. Good boy. So anytime that they succeed at the task that we're doing, I back off, give him a second, because that's releasing the pressure from him. Let him get used to it. Let him figure out. He's not fazed by it. but I want him to understand. If we had a bowl of grain, I want them to go back to the bowl of grain and eat again and figure out that they can eat with that and that it's not going to kill them. My guys coming from the wild, if they're BLM donkeys, snakes are a real thing. Snakes are a real thing up here too, but they're real scared of ropes because they think that they're a snake. And so I can have a lead rope go on the ground and I can have 20 donkeys that are coming after it to try and kill it. So I need to know if they're going to react or respond. Again, I want to be in a safe place when I do that to figure it out because I don't want to be part of the snake killing. It's not in my agenda to be trampled this morning.
So would you normally have the smaller pen, the triangle?
I do triangles always until I am comfortable enough to know that I can stand next to her. And then as soon as I can get area and know that they're, he's not doing anything aggressive towards me, he's not reacting towards me. I don't know at the beginning if they're going to bite, if they're going to kick, if they're going to react to my ropes. So I assume always until I know that I'm safe. I work faster with these guys because I see them all the time and I handle them on a regular basis. So moving to a lead rope. Again, there's different kinds of lead ropes. There's different materials of lead ropes. This is 2 different lead ropes. Like those? They smell like stinky donkeys at my house. We use these. These are 15-foot ropes. You see all my knots tied? Those are called my failure points. So when I'm putting a brand new donkey on a lead rope that is going to think that a snake is going to kill him, I need a way to try and catch him when the rope starts going away. So as my hand slides, stops at the knots. This is a great thing for parades. This gives you extra security. When I introduce the lead rope, I coil it, not like a snake, but coil it up. And I place it on their backs. And I let them get used to it sitting there. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. If it's back here, it's not in their face. He's not worried about it. It's not doing anything. He can see it moving around in his vision. They can actually see all 4 of their feet at the same time. And when I do, sorry dude, when I attach right from there. So again, there's nothing that I've done that's impeded the front of his head. Hey, buddy? Good boy. So he's a little bit uncertain about that. I'm just watching how he's holding himself. He's not as relaxed as he has been. So we're going to do it 3 times. I'm going to release so that he gets a break. He's more concerned about it on his back right now. He doesn't know what the weight is. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, you're okay. Good boy, Hershey.
Here comes his arch nemesis.
So this time, the leg's relaxed. He's not nearly as tensed up as he was, but I'm watching for those signs for him to tell me that he wasn't comfortable. It's okay.
So what would the signs be that they're uncomfortable? What do you?
Well, he got real stiff.
Okay.
This front leg
Okay.
is stiff right now. He put it back. When I take it away, he relaxes that leg immediately.
Okay. For anybody that just jumped on, this is Kim Welk from Burrow Base Camp, and we are doing Donkey Handling 101.
So there's his 3rd time. He's more comfortable. Now his leg movement might be a little bit, there's a couple flies on his legs, so it might be shaking flies off, but he's not doing the stiffness, he's not doing the movement. He's checking in with me, looking back at me to figure out what I need from him, right?
What's next?
So I'm going to take the rope all the way off because that was a little bit stressful for him, and just give him a break.
You know, Deckers likes to be the center of attention, so here he is.
Tail, is he allowed to have a little bit of treat?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Good boy, Hershey.
Here, buddy.
You get good boy.
So again, he's being a good student, so I want to make sure he knows that I appreciate what he's doing. He knows that I come with the vet and farrier most of the time, So I'm sure that he's waiting for that to happen. And it doesn't usually end all positive with me being here. I'm a bad cop a lot of the time. I like when I have friends, though.
We appreciate you, Kim.
Okay, so halter, buckling from the left side. Once the halter's on, these guys are pretty comfortable with the halter. I undo things. So if we got to the point of the lead rope and he just wasn't comfortable anymore and we needed to be done, I would back him out of where we just got to. So it would be lead rope back off, halter back off, a touch, and then he can leave. I don't want him going to the door and running. I want him leaving on my terms. Right, buddy? You okay?
I'm okay.
Check in on
They're all checking in.
They're all set.
They're so sweet.
They're making sure he's okay.
Yeah.
You got a treat.
And eating the harness.
Deckers is trying to eat the harness off.
Yeah, chop
There's
on the
always
harness.
one. That's Taz at our house.
That's Deckers. Deckers, look up. No. It's good dog.
Good boy, buddy. Good boy. So does anybody have any questions to this point? You saw me standing right behind the donkey. Am I crazy for doing that?
Please relax.
What did I tell him when I was standing back here?
Touch.
You're okay. I've had my hand on him the whole time, right?
Yep.
I told him in
knows
here.
where you are.
Most donkeys love their butt scratched. If he were not happy with me, number one, he moved away, right? So I'm going to listen to that. The flappy tail can sometimes mean frustration. So I'm going to watch for that too. But I'm also never going to put him in a place that he's like in a corner that he can't get out of. That if you tell him that you're here, and actually the closer that you are standing to them, the safer you are. I'm over here, I'm more likely to get kicked than I am if I'm right here. Because he can't get his leg up. Kick me right there.
Don't eat the bag.
What do you think, dude? Huh?
No. It's not
You
eat
want
the
me to get
bag.
another victim and let you go? What are you finding? Touch? Touch?
Touch.
So, as these donkeys are walking up to you throughout the time that we're here, I want you reaching out and touching them and interacting with them. Figure out if you're going at their head, if it's different than if you're going at their sides. They see a lot of different people here, so they're used to that. Most people are coming at their head right from the feeding deck, and so our guys are not allowed to have a reward until they allow a touch. These guys don't mind the touch on the face because they're used to that. But it could be that it's going to be harder to pet them back further because they're only used to their heads getting touched, and so that may be something that they protect. Most of the time, a donkey will have a right or a left side that they prefer, and so it can become a problem if you need to buckle a halter on the left side and they only like you to be on the right. And so those are things that you just work through slowly with them, and you make the start of your training session be that you're working on their non-dominant side first, get them through 3 times, and then go to the other side so that you're getting positive back onto them. Anything to add?
No, there was one thing, like you were talking about the shadows and stuff like that. There's a book called Running with Sherman.
Yep.
Where they train the donkey, and it's always skittish and scared of everything
Right.
along the way. So
Yep.
that's a pretty good book if you want to. And they train Sherman
Hi,
to run
Abby.
in the Western Peckborough Association races.
Yep.
And stuff, so that's a good book there. But Kim was talking about all the things that she was doing right there. That's what we're doing with our these 2 donkeys up front.
Right.
And they don't like their sides being pet or anything like that. If you go up to their sides, they're skittish and run away. We tie them up, the lead rope, and and then we can pet them and get all that social action
Right.
with them, and they love
Yep.
that.
Yep.
But then you let them loose, and then they're still a little skittish.
Skittish.
But we're
Yep.
working
Yep.
with them on that.
No, that's great.
Is there something down there?
Nope.
Okay.
A lid. You want the lid?
That's Deckers. He's the troublemaker. That's right.
Say it smells really good. It smells
He's gonna
really
help
good.
himself.
So those guys, and it may be that we'll take a little bit of a break, and maybe we'll go up and work with those guys a little bit, because that'll give you a little bit of a better idea. What I want is when you guys show up to volunteer, I want it to be consistency from one person to the next. I also want it to be that you know and you're comfortable, so that if there's one that's harder, I would love to see from the vet farrier team side of things, the day that we don't have to sedate all these guys to get trimmed, because they're here and they're handled enough that we should be able to get them to the point that they're no longer scared. We sedate to trim for safety of the farrier and the vet, as well as for the safety of the donkey, but it gives us the time that we need in order to be able to hold their feet up, because they're not comfortable holding. And so if we work that they're getting volunteer attention and they're getting consistent work, it's amazing how fast they turn around and how fast they'll learn that stuff. So if it's something that can be practiced routinely, it'll be a game changer for all these guys, and they'll feel a whole lot better because we won't have to intervene quite as much as we do. So pressing on, I'll keep pressing with him, and then, like I said, I think we'll take a quick break and we'll go up with those guys because I want to get hands on them. So I'm going to go back to halter. Hey, buddy.
Coco's being a good student. You being a good student, Coco?
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, I always do anything related to the feet with a halter and a lead rope on. I don't ever just walk up to them and expect them to pick up their feet. I have my babies that I do, but even they know, like, this isn't when we're supposed to do this. And they're 2 now, and they're starting to get to the point of, like, why are we doing this, Mom? Because we're not in a halter or lead rope, so it's not the time that we're supposed to do it. So I put a halter and a lead rope on. When we start to work with legs are obviously the place that, as people, we're the scared of the most, because donkeys kick. Donkeys are known for kicking. We don't want to get kicked. It hurts. It leaves bruises. So everything that we do, my approach and everything that I teach my volunteers is safety first. So I don't ever want to put you in a position that you're not comfortable with. So if you're not comfortable picking up feet, don't make yourself a person that picks up feet. You don't have to be a foot picker upper. There are plenty of other jobs that can be done at the donkeys. If you're not comfortable picking up feet, don't do it, because you're doing a disservice to them, because they don't understand why you're scared. So if you have 2 people when you're doing this, I always put one person on the head. And that one person can hold on to the donkey or hold on to their head. But that person controlling the head for me is making sure that I don't get bit. I know Hershey, I know Hershey's feet. I have picked up Hershey's feet, so I'm not too terribly worried that Hershey's going to bite me. But I'm always going to use caution to make sure that I'm not putting myself in that situation. When we touch feet, I always face backwards, because this is how the farrier has to work. And so if I teach them that I'm picking up feet from the front, that's not what they're used to. And so the farrier comes and all of a sudden they're like, wait a second, why are you doing this? I don't understand. So I want to do everything that they're expecting to happen to them, so that, again, they're set up for success when we get them ready to go. When we touch, you're going to just pick up your foot for me, aren't you? You know I'm here. I touch down to the knee. I tell them touch. I just rub. If that's all they're comfortable with, 3 times successful where they're not backing away from me, we're done. That's it. And we're out. If he's comfortable with me going all the way down to his ankle, he's actually lifting his foot up for me because he's used to this. But next step from the knee is to go down to the ankle. I'm not using proper leg terms. That's how we associate them. and then I back off and release. He's comfortable. He's coming back for more, right? We gotta turn so he can see. So at this phase, now, I'm gonna ask him to lift, okay? When we lift their leg up, the tighter that you hold it up, it's actually more comfortable with them, for them, if it's up in the air and kind of compact on their leg. If you hold it down and lower, we don't always tend to stand straight, and so any movement is pulling on their hips and on their joints up here, and it can be uncomfortable. So if he's moving around, something's not right. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Good. So once he stops fighting me, I'll give him his foot back. If he's fighting my hand, I'm going to hold it until he stops. A farrier needs 2 to 3 minutes on a hoof to get all the way around. So if you get them to the point that they can hold their feet up for 2 to 3 minutes, your farrier will be your best friend for the rest of your life. Right, buddy? You hold your feet up all the time, don't you? So I would repeat it. Do you see that I'm kind of pushing into him a little bit? When he was initially standing, his feet were together. We're standing with our feet together and somebody lifts up a foot. We have to shift in order to get our weight to the place that we can balance, right? They're no different than us. And so if I see that his feet are lined up like this, I'm hip checking him a little bit so that his feet move. And he's taking the weight off of this leg so that I can lift the leg. If he has the weight on this leg, I'm not lifting this leg. It's going to be planted in the ground and there's no way I'm getting it up, and it'll be the heaviest thing you've ever lifted in your entire life. Good boy. I always let it down softly so that they can position it how they want it. This is a hoof pick. When you lift the foot, lift. Good boy. There are kind of natural grooves in their feet, and we can look at this closer. But you just, with the hoof pick, just follow the natural grooves. You're not out to get everything out of their feet. You're just out to clean out. If he had a rock or something, it would come out. It's typically smelly. You got some stinky feet, dude. Set it down gently. You want that one? You can work around fronts to fronts. You can work yourself all the way around, whatever you're comfortable with. We'll talk about the backs a little bit more. Lift. Hi, buddy.
Kim, are they all unique in regards to
Yes.
all front or left, right?
Not necessarily. I would say it's more farrier training. Most of the farriers I work with go in a circle. Sometimes we'll do the backs first if we know that we're going to run out of time. So ideally, I didn't want him throwing his foot back down. He needed a break. He was shifting. I could feel him falling down the hill. I couldn't get his foot down fast enough. Let's lift. Let's lift. You lift. So you can see just kind of the grooves that are there. If you're getting little bits of white stuff, that's okay. That's their hoof sole. And it dies just like, you know, the tops of our fingernails and things like that too. We got one more time, dude. You gotta go 3 times. 3 times. Good boy.
So even if we're not ready to clean their hooves, if we get an opportunity to stroke their legs,
Just touching all the way down, tapping.
okay.
You can take the hoof pick and beat against that so that they get used to the sound of metal. That's helpful.
Okay.
Like I said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Your level of comfort. If you are completely and utterly uncomfortable with getting down there and having your head down that low, a rope with no knots, and this is a different fabric than my other rope. It's a little softer, so it's not uncomfortable for them. This is going to be weird to him, so I don't know how he's going to respond, so I'm going to watch, but fold it in half so that you have a loop. You can feed it through the leg, and then feed the rope back through itself and let it just slide down. You want it to be sitting below their fetlock right there, so, and then you can just tell him lift. Now I'll send his legs up. He's learning to hold his leg up. I'm standing normally. Nobody's in danger right here. He decides he's uncomfortable, we can set it down. We can lift. Good boy. So this is a great place to start if you're not comfortable. It's the hardest part about this is getting the rope through the leg, getting the rope off. Once you have it on, you just have to loosen it enough and they can lift up out of it. They can just step out of it. But that's the hardest part about using the rope, is getting it back off. So,
Well, I was more thinking just as we start to get them used to
Yep.
touch and stuff,
yep,
that would help the farrier.
huge. Yep, big deal. It's a big, big deal. So, no matter who the donkey is, 99% of the time I do a rope to start with on the back, because I don't want to find out how they're going to respond. The other thing is that we use what's called the safety lift. Sorry to keep putting that back. I want you going down the front of the leg and touching on the front, because if he decides to kick right now, the only way he can kick is backwards. And my head and my arm are not down there to be part of the kicking process. So this is the safety lift. Again, we're stroking down the front. Same thing, you saw him release his weight. He's lifted right there. If he decides to kick, the only place he's kicking is straight out of my hand. Okay? He's not going to come forward and cow kick. He's not going to side down him, because he can't do it from the position that we're in. Okay? Here's your rope again, right? We make a loop. You want to make sure it's all the way down underneath that joint that's right there, the equivalent of our wrist, but it's not going to be comfortable if it's sitting on both sides of the joint, just like if you had something strapped like a knee brace, it wouldn't flex right. So from here, we can tell him lift. Hershey lift. Good boy. Okay? If you're at the stage that you're just learning to touch, just tapping and putting it down is perfectly great. Okay? There's a lot of these guys here that this would be a godsend for. Lift. Good boy.
And that's as high as the back leg
Yep.
should go.
Yep. And if he's fumbling, it may be that he wants it lower. And we can figure it out. Figure out where he's comfortable. So that's going to be the hardest thing for anybody. As far as a volunteer, as far as anybody handling donkeys, the hardest thing in the world. I owned donkeys for probably 4 years before I was confident picking up hooks. It's natural. Right? Like, we know a donkey's going to kick us, and why would you put your head and stuff down someplace? Why would you be a farrier? We love our farriers, don't we? Are you
That
okay?
was not nice. Jackers.
So, they have 4 feet. He turned around on me. Make sure I get the right back foot. The other thing is that if you're new to this and you're starting to volunteer, pick a Hershey, because you know that Hershey can do this. And Hershey's patient, and Hershey will let you work to get yourself comfortable before you go find Wendy and decide that today's the day that Wendy's going to do this. Good thought?
Guessing Wendy doesn't like her hoof stuff.
Not a ton. There's probably a few more that can go up over this. So here's lift. Good boy. Here's lift. Lift. Good boy. So if he kicked right now, The only place he's kicking is straight away from me, right?
Yep.
There. And you can pick out back hooves just like we did the front hooves. He gets his feet done a lot, so I'm not worried about his feet too much. So, do you need some fly spray? Do you want me to fly spray you? Going back to the lead rope, and when you get to the point that you're actually holding onto the lead rope, walking in a parade, we talked about the knots and the points of sliding. Don't ever, 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 ever wrap a lead rope around your hands, because you will not have a hand if they take off. So you want to make sure that you're always in a position that if they go, it's gone. And you're not tangled up with them, because if they go, they're going. Most of the time, if the donkey chooses to run away, they're going someplace familiar. If they see a piece of green grass, they're going to stop at the green grass, because they're going to stop to eat. So don't panic. They're not like a dog. It's not the breakout of a gate. Like, they're not going to go. They're going to go someplace they're familiar. So if they were at the parade and they got loose, they would probably go to the pen at the jail museum, because that's where they know. They go someplace that they felt safe. If they have a halter and a lead rope on, it's fine. They may get tangled. We know that they have it on. We're not going to leave it on for days and weeks and months. We're going to figure out where they are, and we're going to get them to a safe place where they feel comfortable, and we're going to get them to a point where they're okay for us to approach to get it off. But do not ever attempt to hold on to the water ski. Everybody's parents, when you learned to water ski, told you not to hold on to the rope, right? We all held on to the rope, and you get waterlogged once, and that's about all it takes, right? Same thing with the donkey. You get waterlogged once, and you're not going to hold on ever again. So just make sure that you're not wrapped. If you are concerned about controlling a donkey on a lead rope, I always walk my donkeys from here. Again, nothing wrapped around my hands, but I am a whole lot stronger right here than I am right here. And so if they take off on me and I'm holding on to this right here, this is gone really, really fast, because I'm very weak in my upper body. But if I hold on here, I can dig my legs in, and I can pull, and I can push, and I've got a much better chance of getting them to stop. Again, if I lose them, it's going down, okay? And I go surfing a lot at my house. It's the only way I can teach them. These guys are pretty good about a lead rope, but again, it's a control thing. So if you're in a parade environment, you're someplace that you're anxious because it's really loud, there's a lot of people, it's really noisy, put them here. You're in control, you're comfortable, and you can hold on to them a little bit better. Questions there? Hershey's been a very good student. So Hershey, we factored out everything we did, right? The lead rope.
Not that side.
Halter.
Do you always reverse in the order that you?
I do.
Okay.
And then since he was such a good boy, good example, Hershey.
You want it? You want a different flavor this time?
He's
Yeah,
picky.
somebody's dancing over here.
Don't tell. That's a donkey. There you go. Pretty good, huh?
Good.
Hiding the good stuff from you.
Great job, Kim. Are we going to take a little break?
Yep. Let's take a little break, and then we'll go up and see what we can do. I'll wrestle your new guys.
All right, so we're going to sign off for a moment here, but we're going to be back in about how many minutes?
Probably 10.
10 minutes. We'll be live again with Kim Welk from Burro Base Camp. We are live from the Cripple Creek Donkey Winter Pasture, and we are doing Donkey Handling 101. So Kim's teaching us all the basics on how to handle donkeys. So give us about 10 minutes and come on back.